I'm finally sitting down to create my first ever YouTube video and I'm super excited about it. YouTube is something that I've been aspiring to create on for quite a while, so now we're finally here. I hope you guys enjoy. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm 25. I'm a stay-at-home mum to 2 girls. I have a newborn and a 2-year-old. I'm happily married. I've been married to my partner for almost 3 years and we've been together for almost 6. We own our own home and we've just purchased a new family car, a 2026 Hyundai Palisade. I have always wanted to be a mum, but some things I didn't know was how hard it would be to get into motherhood. I finally started to find my feet. Just over a year ago, I started creating content on Instagram and TikTok to have a creative outlet for my postpartum journey. I suffer from severe postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety and rage and have been medicated since I was about 4 months postpartum. So having a creative outlet somewhere I could express myself and showcase my creativity is something I really needed. I post budgeting, lifestyle and motherhood content as well as creating UGC on the side for brands, which I absolutely love. Enough about me. I know you're here because you want to hear about the finances, so let's dive into that. But a little bit of backstory as to why budgeting is so important for me and my family. When my husband and I returned from our honeymoon in July of 2023, on the last day we realized that we had no money left. We returned home pretty much flat broke. We had to wait for my final paycheck from my job to come in so we could pay our bills. And obviously my husband didn't work, so he wasn't getting an income. On that last day, as soon as we got home, I took a pregnancy test and I found out I was pregnant with our daughter. And that is when we knew times had to change. We had less than $500 in our accounts combined, which absolutely scared the shit out of us. So we knew that we had to make a plan and go forward and try something because we never wanted to let ourselves get to that point again, especially now that we were becoming parents. So since then, my husband has worked his ass off. I've also worked hard to make sure we're living within our means. Since then, we have saved over $50,000 and we put a $40,000 deposit on a brand new car. So I wanted to start sharing some budgeting content and show you guys exactly how we budget, what we do, and how we're actually able to save so much money. The budget I use is called the Simple Family Budget. It's a budget I created and I'll link it in the description if you want to purchase it. Like every budget I could find on the internet was too overcomplicated, too confusing, or literally just had useless stuff that I did not need or could not be bothered working out. So I have simplified it. I created one that basically just lays it all out there for you. This is the budget tracker I use. This is the weekly spreadsheet. You can obviously change it to monthly or however you get paid. We get paid weekly, so this is how I prefer to do it. At the start of every month, I'll create 4 spreadsheets and I will budget for each week of that month. And any big expenses I can factor in. And when the actual money hits our account, I'll then just go and adjust the figures and update it all and do the actual payday routine on the day. Starting off, my husband is currently on maternity leave. He is getting paid through banked hours that he'd banked through his employer. He had been working on this for 3 months before he left work. So we have some money coming in while he is currently not working. It is not to the full extent that we normally get paid. For transparency, our income is around $2,500 to $3,000 after tax every week. So this is a massive sort of pay cut at the moment while he is not working. But that is totally okay because it's priceless to spend some time with our newborn baby and our 2-year-old. I am going to update the amount that we got paid. So I'm just going to update the amount figure. We got $2,000.66 come into our account. So that's how much money we have to work with. As you can see, left to spend is $2,000.66. Now, this tracker is laid out in the exact way I like to pay. So I pay our savings first, then our debt, then our bills, and then our expenses. Expenses is last because we can adjust that and adjust our lifestyle that week based on how much we are earning. At the moment though, we have decided not to prioritize our savings for the 4 weeks that my husband is not working, and we are prioritizing being able to eat out, go visit some nice restaurants, get all of the treats on groceries that we want, and obviously just treat ourselves because once he goes back to work, we'll jump back on our strict budget. So while he's not working, we are indulging a little bit. Because of that, we aren't putting anything into our savings. So I'm going to just put $0 in all of these columns. Unfortunately, it just is what it is at the moment. Then we pay our debt. So mortgage is $600 and our car repayment is $282.62. Nothing extra on our car at the moment. Then we have our bills. So I'm just going to copy and paste all of the budgeted figures that we had. Copy and paste. Voila. We do need to add $1 extra to our phone and internet. I'm just going to take it off the pet rego so that way the bills account total doesn't change. $422.90 goes to our bills every single week. Now for expenses. So we do need to adjust these figures probably a little bit. $300 is going to be the same for groceries. We spend about $300 a week or $600 a fortnight. Petrol, I'm going to put $100 because we are driving around more in my car and fuel is expensive at the moment. It apparently is on the way down, but still not enough. Eating out, as I said, we're prioritizing. We love going out to breakfast and we found some really cute new breakfast spots we want to try. So I've put $200 into eating out this week. Obviously, we are parents of two. We're busy. We're lack of energy because we're not sleeping very well. So that is what it is. Pets gets $10 and holiday gets nothing because we're not prioritizing a holiday while my husband's on maternity leave. Gifts, that'll get $50. Is on the lower side. I do like to put between $70 and $100 in our gifts every single week because that covers all of the gifts we buy throughout the year. It covers birthdays for our kids, Christmas, Easter, anniversaries, whatever, you name it, it covers it. But obviously due to the lack of income, I'm just going to put $50 and then $50 in my husband's spending and my spending or miscellaneous and $0 for the other accounts, which brings our total of our actual expenses to $760. It looks like it's about $89 or $90 above what it was going to be, but that's okay. Left to spend, let's go up to our left to spend. Check at $0, so that's perfect. Then you can see on our pie chart where my money goes. 36.8% went on expenses, 42.7% on debt, and 20.5% on bills, and a big fat zero, nothing on savings is what it is. And that is our pay budget done. That is every dollar accounted for. We've given every dollar a place and a purpose, and there should be no stray dollars now. So I've entered all the figures into our spreadsheet. I'll then go onto our banking app and transfer the money between our three accounts. So we have fixed expenses, long-term savings, and short-term savings, and I'll just transfer whatever money in between, and then I will come over to my everything else tab. I needed a place to put all of my other figures and I did not want 10 other tabs. So I just put it all in one spreadsheet and I was good to go. As you can see, I've got savings and debt goals in the top left corner. Self-explanatory. Bills tracker, we put away money for all of our monthly, quarterly and yearly bills each week without fail. That is one of our biggest tips, is to pay all of the money so you're not stressing about when bills come. Just put the money away each week. It's not that big of a deal. And that way I can keep track of it and make sure we've got enough put aside when the bill is ready to come out. Subscriptions, self-explanatory. It's the same sort of method. I enter all of our subscriptions and we put away a weekly amount. I don't wait for it to come out each month. I'll just put away the weekly amount and the money's there. Then I have our three account trackers: short-term, long-term and fixed expenses. Short-term savings, all of our sinking funds. So our gift sinking fund, when we want to buy a big gift for the kids, such as a kids playground, birthdays, all of that kind of stuff. Then we have our long-term saving goals, which are basically future goals. And then our kids savers also sit in here, so that way they accumulate quite a lot of interest. And then lastly, we have our fixed expenses, which is all of our everyday money. So everything from groceries, bills, subscriptions, it all sits in here. When we want to take money, it just comes straight off that account. I have already updated these figures based on the pay that we just did together. So it's already been updated, and then I just update this throughout the week, and then by the next time the payday comes around, it's all updated and I can keep track of all the categories. We prefer to do it this way rather than using a transaction tracker. I just find keeping track of every single transaction very tedious and mind-numbing. And it doesn't work for everyone. It works for a lot of people. I'm not one of those people. I would prefer all of our money to be laid out in categories. And then when we take money from a certain category, such as eating out, say we spent $50 at the pub, we'll take the $50 off eating out, and then I can just keep track of how much money is still sitting there. That way, when that category hits zero, we don't continue to overspend. If we just kept it in transaction tracker, we wouldn't know how much is sitting there for each specific category, and I would find that we would probably overspend because we wouldn't see that there's no money sitting there. We would just assume that there's more money. This way it keeps it nice and tidy. This is also a Google Sheet spreadsheet, so I can access it on my laptop or my phone. And so if I'm out and about, I can still see the account tracker and see how much money are sitting there. I know some people even use separate accounts. I have done that in the past, but I had too many accounts for my own good. So I've closed them all and we have one account and I just keep track of it through a spreadsheet. And honestly, it works for me. You have to find what works best for you. Something that works for me might not work for you and vice versa. And finding the best way for your family and yourself to budget is the key to actually being able to succeed while budgeting. But that brings me to the end of our payday routine. So I'm going to continue to do these. Obviously, this one was a little bit unrealistic because we didn't have a full income, but it is really important to me to keep my YouTube as transparent as my TikTok and Instagram are. I think there's such a stigma around not talking about money, and people don't want to talk about how much they make or bring in or what they're actually spending their money on. But I think it's really important to open up the conversation and keep that conversation going so people actually feel comfortable talking about money and getting tips, getting tricks, and finding ways that they can make their money work for them. So I will continue to post these personal finance videos because I love watching them, and I think it's really important to make sure everyone knows that you don't need to be taboo about your money. You can talk about it, and that way you might even be able to learn some things from people. And I will be continuing to post. I'll be posting budgeting, lifestyle, and motherhood content. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate if you showed me some love. So hit the subscribe, like, or comment button. You can also find me on TikTok or Instagram and show my short form content some love. But I will be grateful for any of the support that people show on this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to talk about personal finance with you again sometime soon. But I'll see you in the next video. Bye.